The Zodiac Killer, The Hunt for a Phantom. Today, we're diving into one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, the Zodiac Killer. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California, leaving a trail of blood and baffling law enforcement. Despite the killer's taunting letters and cryptic ciphers, his identity remains unknown to this day. Let's dive into the mystery. The murders. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror began on December 20, 1968, in Vallejo, California, with the brutal shooting of teenagers Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. They were parked on a quiet road when a man approached their car and shot them at point-blank range. It seemed like a random act of violence, until the killer struck again. In July 1969, the Zodiac targeted Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Ann Shepard by Lake Berryessa. This time, he tied the victims up, stabbed them repeatedly, and drew a strange symbol, cross within a circle, on Hartnell's car door. Cecilia died, but Brian survived, and his description of the killer would be pivotal. The killer's next victims were Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, shot at Blue Rock Springs Park. But this time, the Zodiac didn't just kill and leave, he called the police, bragging about the murders and even offering to help them catch him. The letters and ciphers. But it wasn't just the murders that made the Zodiac notorious, it was his communication with the public. He sent several letters to the press, claiming responsibility for the killings and boasting about his crimes. In one letter, he included a cryptogram or cipher, claiming it contained his identity. The Zodiac ciphers were a major part of his taunting. The first cipher was cracked by a schoolteacher just months after it was sent, but the Zodiac sent more, each one more complicated. Perhaps the most infamous is the 340-character cipher, which remained unsolved for decades. In these letters, the Zodiac not only boasted of his crimes, but also threatened more murders and detailed his fantasies. These cryptic writings turned the killer into something even more terrifying, a ghost who reveled in remaining an unsolvable puzzle. The San Francisco murders and the bus bomb. The Zodiac's killing spree didn't end with the Lake Berryessa and Blue Rock Springs murders. In 1970, he sent a letter to a local newspaper detailing plans to build a bomb, targeting public buses and killing anyone who got in his way. He called this his bus bomb, and it added an element of terror to his persona. He wasn't just killing people, he was threatening mass destruction. The Zodiac's threats were chilling because, even if he didn't act on them, they kept people in constant fear. Could there be a bomb planted somewhere, waiting to go off? His ability to control public anxiety through letters and threats made him more terrifying than most serial killers. Suspects and theories. As time passed, many theories emerged about the Zodiac's identity. One of the primary suspects was Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester with ties to the area and a potential motive. However, there was never enough solid evidence to charge him. Allen even passed a polygraph test, but he died in 1992 without ever being officially linked to the murders. Other suspects have included Richard Gajkowski, a journalist with a suspicious connection to the case, and even theories about the Zodiac being someone within law enforcement. Despite the efforts of investigators and the public's fascination, the Zodiac's true identity has never been confirmed. In recent years, technology has rekindled interest in solving the case. DNA analysis and genealogical research have led to new leads, but as of today, the Zodiac Killer remains one of the most famous unidentified criminals in history. The Zodiac Killer was more than a murderer, he was a phantom, a figure who taunted the public and law enforcement with his letters and ciphers, and who eluded capture for decades. To this day, we are left to wonder, who was he? What was his motive? And why did he stop? What are your thoughts for today's episode? Leave them down in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the Zodiac Killer case, be sure to subscribe to Lyra Mysteries for more chilling, unsolved crimes. And as always, stay curious. Some mysteries are meant to stay unsolved, forever lingering in the shadows. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.